Yo, yo, yo. Alright, it's been, I think, 2 years since I made one of these rambles. A lot has happened since then. Don't mind me, by the way, I'm just, the usual alk agility. I was a bit nostalgic, so I decided to go to Prif, which I haven't been to in 6 years, probably? Back when it was still meta. Good times. Alright, so as you can see in the chat box, I just finished up the Ultor Vestige. So that was, a grind long coming. I think that content was already released the last time I made a video, but back then I think I had just wrapped up Void Waker. So this was maybe November 2023. November, like, 22nd, 2023, something like that. Like, pretty close to Thanksgiving, if not that day itself. Yeah, I had wrapped up Void Waker, and I was going to use it in the Tombs of the Masket. So I think I said I was just going to go straight to Shadow. So I did maybe about 7,400 like raid level Tombs of the Masket. I got 6 out of 7 a second time, and it was getting kind of boring, and I didn't really want to do it. So I decided to abide by the classic OSRS maxim: waiters always win. And in this case, that was absolutely true. We know that Tombs of the Masket have been buffed, I think, twice, if not 3 times in the last 2 years. So, a lot of changes have come in since I've last done it. Just to clarify, the last time I was in Tombs was December 2023, and now we have all sorts of updates, like Akka. Is it Akka? Yeah, Akka's damage being less, maybe? I don't remember. I know Baba doesn't damage you through prayer anymore. I want to say something changed with Akka. I don't remember. But I do know that you can use Eye there now, the Eye of Ayak, which didn't exist back then. So all sorts of changes. But, there were just a number of updates that came out in the game that made things easier. Best example is probably the Rancor, Amulet of Rancor, which adds some accuracy. Oath Plate Armor, which adds accuracy and defense. Not too relevant in TOA because you don't really slash, but it is still good for BGS. But most importantly, because you use fewer supplies in places like... Oh, nice, I forgot about these. What does this do? I think it skips ahead. Yeah. Because you use fewer supplies, since Baba is, no damage now, and Akka is faster with the Eye, several options open up. Either you can do higher raid level, or you can take more switches and things like that. And because you can take more switches, you can use Ultor, you can use Magus, and things like that. You can take Ancestral Hat. So there's just a lot of options that are available now. So I decided to take a break from TOA, and initially, I decided, let me just focus on work for a bit. So, I was coming out of 2023. I was grinding for promotion, which I managed to secure in December 2023. And then going into 2024 at work, I was really busy sort of proving myself and ensuring that, it was like not going to be recanted or anything. And then, yeah, like maybe the first half of 2024 was like that. So I wasn't really playing this game too much, actively. It was mostly just focusing on work, and then in game I was just doing basically contracts, farming contracts, and herb runs. Herb runs. So that was pretty much the main focus for like the first main core part of 2024. And then I cashed in a lot of those by actually training herblore, making some potions, and that was kind of motivating, I guess. The second half of 2024. 3+12 Chambers of Xeric became really, really popular. So I ended up doing a bunch of that. And let me just show you. That was quite effective. I'm 11 out of 12 right now, which is really nice at a pretty low KC. Missing the Mega Rare, as expected. Same story over here, unfortunately. But it's okay. Can't really complain when you have everything else that's good. Haven't really done TOB. So that was this, right? So I got all the nice items from there, and then I decided, all right, let's do those grinds that I was just talking about, all those nice upgrades for TOA, and as I started doing some of them, more and more content came out. Like I was like, okay, let me go get Ultra and Magus. So I started with Magus because it's a little bit easier, I guess, to learn. So I did that. Ended up getting 2 pets, which is really nice. This was all with Slash Fang still in like I don't remember when it was, but I was using Slash Fang for this. So that was that. And then they nerfed Fang, so I got demotivated. I tried some Vardorvis, and it just was not fun. And I figured I'll come back to it. By that time, I think Araxer had been released. So I decided to go to Araxer. And this just began this long chain of Slayer, basically. Like, over a year of Slayer, where, yeah, you can see I have 31 mil Slayer XP now. Like, pretty much, like, I did a full 99's worth of Slayer going dry. It was extremely frustrating. I went dry on, like, 6 PVM items in a row. So, it was very, very frustrating. So yeah, so I went right into Raxer. I did like 800 KC before I even got like the Noxious Halley, which was a little frustrating for sure. And then I had to do another task to finish the Fang, which, yeah, is unfortunate. But that's like not that frustrating. The regular loot is like not that impressive from Raxer. It sucks that you have to get a task, but it's nothing crazy. What really drove me crazy was, okay, it's like kind of hard to believe, but these things. Okay, yeah, I had to do 2800 KC for these 2 synapses, like one for the Scobo and one for the Emberlight. The first one I got was at like 2200. Okay, and so I did 11 tasks. These are like more than that actually, because I didn't always have it Greater Demons extended. So like 11 or maybe more, like 14 tasks where I got nothing. So imagine that. It was extremely frustrating. And then because I got this first one at like 22, I ended up going dry actually for the second one also, because it's 1 in 500, right? You can imagine that was very demoralizing. I spent like the better part of a year grinding this. Yeah, you can do Aya Slayer and all that stuff, but you know, I want the imbued heart, and you know, I was grinding for that too. 16 staves, no gem, no heart. Pretty frustrating, but that'll come in time. I'm not going for it very seriously, but I was just, you know, doing regular Slayer to get that. So that's that. You know, I was grinding those 2, and you're like, all right, that's not so bad, Para. What are you talking about? It's like 2 grinds. Yes, but while I was doing Slayer, I was also doing, where is this? This boss, Zami. By the way, most of this KC is with Bofa, because I didn't have Scobo for a long time. To finally get the Staff of the Dead. Of course, when I finally did get the Staff of the Dead, I got Kodai, so it didn't matter anymore. But it was nice for, like, you know, the original goal of God Wars Dungeon completion as a so-called GWD George, somebody who really likes that content. It is good to finally finish that. So yeah, this is pretty dry for that. It was very frustrating. Then I went here to get this Armor Helm for the Clue Step. Also went dry there. Completion rate at both these bosses is like mid 800s, early 900s maybe max. So a little bit dry. God, pretty seriously dry. Very frustrating, especially constantly getting Steam staves. There was a period of time when I had 3 of these in a trip, like because I was doing like 3-hour trips for a task. It's just, you know, very, very frustrating. So what is that? That's Araxer dry, Tormented Demons dry, Krilled Sutzeroth dry, Kriara dry. And then I finally, after finishing all of those, I was like trying to gun to get the Ultra Vestige just before Sailing release, which it was released today. Today's November 19th. And I went right here too. I didn't go that right here. At least the number suggested, yeah, it's not so bad. It's like a little bit under 1.5 times. But what was very frustrating about this is they had added that gold coin update, so I knew. Let me go. It's 1408 KC, right? So I knew that I was 2 out of 3 at like 452 KC because I got the drop, and then I did like close to 1,000, just like, you know, getting nothing basically. Very, very frustrating for sure. It's not nearly as bad as Tormented Demons. I think the loot from Vardorvis is a lot better. The mechanics are better. Tormented Demons are, in my opinion, like a worse version of Demonic Gorillas. Like, you know, they're not as fast paced. They have more HP. They're just very tedious, you know. And the drops are very lackluster. So that was pretty frustrating for sure. Vardorvis was, you know, it was a lot of clicking. I spent 9 or 10 days grinding it out. I just banged it out 100 KC a day basically. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it does suck a little to go dry. What was crazy is that I didn't get a single chromium ingot in all that KC. It was all from Duke. So it's really great that they added that update where you can like make it at the blast furnace. So I just made my own. Vertorbis drops Runor and Adior, so it covered its own costs anyway. So yeah, I spent 2 years doing all of that, pretty much grinding all these PVM upgrades that I had missed out on, I guess. And they just kept coming, and I wasn't able to keep up with the updates. Let's go to the bank. You can see I'm not maxed anymore, unfortunately, which is sad, but I'm not going to say anything about sailing. I have no idea how good or bad it is. I haven't done it yet. I kind of made a promise to myself that I was going to finish everything before I start sailing, which I did. So let me show you the bank right now. We're looking at a bit over 5 bill. No mega rares, so pretty solid for 5 bill. A lot of this stuff is pretty similar to what you saw last time. Cash stack is looking healthy. I'm keeping all the split capes and stuff here as motivation to keep going back. Yeah, herb tab is looking really good from all of the PVM. As you can see, I did a lot of herb runs. I never planted these 2 seeds, but everything else I had planted down, and then I got more seeds back from chambers, I guess, after the changes. I'll cash these in at some point, like no risk of running out. When I did Vertorbis, I did it all with just brews and Karambwans, basically. Well, why use, what's it called? Blood Fury. You should just use Rancor and Noxious Halley, so I did that. Yeah, this tab is the gear tab. It's looking really good now. I'm not scuffed anymore, Full Masori, full Ancestral. Oh, I didn't talk about this. Okay. So, when I was getting burnt out, let's show you this. This is crazy. I was getting burnt out. I was like, you know what? Let me just go do Corp, because, simple combat achievements. Let's just do it. Crazy. All right, let me tell you a story about this. You have to do 50 KC, I think, right? Is that right, for the combat achievements? So I was doing it, and I think at 27 KC or something, I got the Spectral. So I was like, what? That's crazy. So I finished 50 KC. I didn't get either of these 2, and I was like, well, you can't stop now. You gotta, finish the shield. So I kept going, and at 75 KC, I got the Ellie. Still before either of these 2. And I was like, wow, you definitely can't stop now. So I ended up kept going, and finally at 250 KC, I finished both of these, which is also pretty much spooned, I think, especially because the elixir. So I ended up finishing 2 out of 3 at 250 KC, no dupes. That's really sick. That's under the rate for 1 shield. Which is amazing. Big fan of that. That was really nice. So yeah, got both these 2. Got a ton of mileage out of these. So before I got Buckler, I was using the Elysian at in 2 places. One at Kriara for Black Chins, and then while catching Black Chins, I also wear the Elysian, or I used to before I got the Dins. And people off you, they don't PK you with that stuff on. Let's be real, like most people off me. I uploaded a video of me catching Black Chins, and that guy was like one of the PKers there, and I was like, are you really gonna try that? And then he backed off, which was really funny. But yeah, so that was fun. This was like a detour in like late 2024 where I was pretty bored, so I got these 2, used them to catch Black Chins, and then I threw the Black Chins 2 places. I threw 25,000 Black Chins to finish the Kriara log, and then I caught a ton more to do 3+12 scaled chambers. I don't even know how many I used there, but I did like a full 99's worth of Hunter, so you can see like 26 mil. I think I was at 13 mil last time, so yeah, pretty much a full 99's worth there. So that's what I was up to. Yeah, I was catching up on all the PVM. Made really good progress inroads into chambers, which is really huge. Still missing the mega rares, which is, yeah, what can you do about that? But yeah, really solid progress overall. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I can show you a few things. No, that's the current task, sorry. Do I have to wear this? Yeah. 20,000 Abyssal Demons, Blood Vells have not changed. Kraken, I finished the tentacles or whatever, the full trident. Dust Devils, Necks, Smokes. Yeah, Superior Creatures, nearly 500 without a harder gem, which is, it's kind of depressing actually. I think I'm definitely dry. With all that KC, especially with this in mind, like 16 staves, what can you do? But overall, that's what I was up to for 2 years. So some skilling, a lot of these, and a lot of PVM, just like rounding out the account. So I finished God Wars. I got very close to finishing Chambers of Zarek. I caught up on all these upgrades like Nox Alley, Ranker, Alter, Magus, Scobo, Emberlight, yeah. And then in the junk tab, we have all the other garbage items like full Armadillo, which is useless because I already fortified everything in the last video. You know, dupes, these things. I'll come back at some point to finish these for sure, but not right now. So the next plan was actually, you know, sort of like kind of what I wanted to do originally, which is to go back to TOA. But now there have been adding some new content, which is getting in the way of TOA for me at least. You know me, I view raids as the, you know, perennial or ultimate endgame content. I'm not the type to bum rush a mega rare and then just spam it everywhere. I think that's fun, but it's pretty similar to how a main would play, and I like kind of being scuffed while doing all the other grinds. It's a very satisfying, slowly building up the account, playing horizontally for me. So I've done a lot of these bosses with very, you know, relatively scuffed gear. So the two things that I think I really want to do for going back, Doom, I would like these for TOA. Now that I have excellent magic gear, I think it makes a lot of sense to not use the BOFA on Wardens, but instead use this Eye of Ayak, particularly, where is this? Yes, in collaboration, I guess, with the Confliction Gauntlets, and then the new Everonic Tread. So these three items will be really key at TOA for somebody with my kind of gear. It'll make the raid a bit faster for sure. You can also use it on Akka and just butterfly the whole time. There's a method for that now, 3-tick butterfly. So that's also really key. So I think this is going to be like a very clear upgrade. You can do this very easily with Scobo, it seems. I don't know much about this boss, but it's very clear that you can do that. So that's going to be pretty easy. Hopefully, we'll see. So I want to do that. I want to do... where is it? Yes, Yama. I don't know anything about Yama. I know you're supposed to do it in teams. You need Emberlight and either Purging or Scobo, I think. I know a lot of duos do like one mage, one melee, so not melee, so not sure about that. But yeah, it would be great to get Oath Plate, and Horn doesn't matter as much to me. I mean, it's nice. My understanding is that the Oath Plate is very slightly better for BGS, but it is good in some other places. It would have been good to have gotten it before doing Bardoris probably, but I didn't have the patience to go find teams and do all of that stuff. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'd like to do these two, and then it would be nice if I could also do Colosseum and get uncharged quiver. Charged doesn't really matter when you're using Bofa or even Blowpipe. So, you know, it's just nice, a small amount of accuracy. I'll probably do this. I have done some Colosseum to, you know, as you can see. Well, this is from somewhere else, from Zora, I think. But I've done Colosseum to get the patch, the 10. I went to wave 10, like near release day, to get the 10th herb patch protected. So that was good. It didn't take that long. It took me about 4 days to learn enough to unlock that. But I've never been to the boss, so I haven't really done the content in earnest. I'll do it at some point. Which brings me to the order of operations for the upcoming grinds. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, yeah, GSSFS baby. Yeah, for the upcoming grinds, I think it makes sense to do, as I just said, we definitely want to do Colo, and probably you should do Colo before you do Doom, because you use the Scobo, so that actually does benefit from the quiver. And I'll just go in and top off the shards needed now that it auto, what's it called? Like, blesses itself over time, similar to the Arc Light. So I'll do that. Then I will, Colo, then Doom, then Yama, and then that makes me TOA ready again. So probably in the next video, I'll have all of those done. But there's a big elephant in the room, and that is related to all these, in my opinion, Newbie capes. I'm not a fan of not being maxed. You guys remember from my 2020 video, that my very first video, which was made a month under 5 years ago. It was about being maxed. You know, it's very, very important to me as part of my identity, and I still view being maxed as very important. So I am going to max again, and I'm probably going to do it like right away. So I have some time off from work. I think it's going to make sense to go max ASAP and finish the 99. I've heard some stories about how fast/slow this skill is. Jury's out for me. I'm not going to say anything until I actually try it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to go for 99. I think you can expect probably in the next video I'll have finished this 99, and then I'll resume PVM, specifically the 3 that I just talked about. Kalo, Doom, Yama, in that order. Get those knocked out, and then if I'm still not burnt out by then, we'll finally go back to Tombs of Amasket. And I'll probably do like 465 or 485s now with the really good upgrades. Because if you take no damage at Baba, you take no damage at Akka, the raid is completely free. So it'll be really fun, I think, finally, which is what stopped me. So that's that. Now for sailing itself, I have done 0 prep because I was grinding Bardorbis 10 days in a row leading up to sailing. So I had seen that sheet from Figment OSRS, who I think was even shouted out by Jagex, which is really cool. I saw the sheet. I thought about prepping, but I was really going hard on Ordorvis, and I didn't want to take breaks. So I decided not to. So what I did was this morning when I logged in, I split apart all my max capes as motivation. I know I said I wouldn't, but I decided I would, just to, because I think these look pretty ugly, and I would prefer to have them maxed again. So having these here will be my motivation every time I open my bank. Like, come on, Para, you need to finish these, you need to fix all of these. I will say Vardorvis was very helpful in providing a few drops, which I think will be very, very useful. These two. Oops. I have no idea where that went. Did it go here? Yeah, okay. Raw Sharks and Runoras. I think you can make fish offcuts or something with these. I don't know. There's so many new items. And originally I was like, that's not a problem. I have 7,000 sharks. But then, before I started Verdorbis, and my friend told me, no, you can only use the raw. And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to go fish minnows. So I decided 2 birds with 1 stone, go to Verdorbis. You get these, which are really helpful. And then I got a ton of rune ore because I went dry. And you can use that for rune nails, which are also really important, it seems, for the ultimate top-end ships. So I'm looking forward to that. I think I'm going to really look forward to skilling again after, more than 5 years, honestly. I think I got my first 99 5.5 or even 6 years ago. So it's been a long time since I've really grinded 99s. So there's those. I have plenty of other ores and bars to make whatever is needed. I have plenty of these planks, plenty of GP. Like if I need to make rosewood, whatever, I can go do that. I haven't even looked at this menu, but they changed the UI. Huh. Oh, it's a lot better actually. It feels more natural. I think here. Yeah, this one, right? Okay, I heard about this, that you need somebody with 100 Temperos, or you need to get 100 Temperos for one of the KCs. Where's Temperos? It's not a minigame? Oh, is it technically a boss, like Wintertot? Yeah, it is. Weird. I've done Temperos. I did it for CAs, and I got a lot of the important drops: tackle box, fish barrel, a couple of spirit flakes. So this is good. I don't have this, don't really care. Don't have this, don't really care. But the thing is, I only have 86 KC, so I need to do like 14 more. I'm really surprised that I have 86 KC. I thought I had like 11. Okay, that's not bad at all. I should do like 14 KC to finish this off. That's not bad. That'll probably take a day. So Tempora's no problem. But like it's stuff like this. Like there will be detours while doing 99 sailing. Like I may have to go do forestry. I've never done forestry. I've never touched the content. I always thought it was pretty, for lack of a better word, bad content. I'm not a fan of this. So I'll go and do whatever it takes from here, I guess. My understanding is that the important items from forestry are these. None of them are here, right? It's the renewables. It's like the nature offerings or whatever, and like the sawmill vouchers. So I'll do that if I have to. If I don't have to, I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, so I'm very excited for this actually. I know a lot of people are not really happy about this. Okay, I'll say one thing. I heard from this morning that this skill is kind of slow at the beginning, 1 to 30. Um, I'm okay with that. I think we're used to instant gratification, to questing everything up. If 1 to 30 is a bit slower, but then it really takes off at 30, and 30 to 50 feels good, 50 to 70 feels good, and then there's a really good method that comes out like 70 or 75 or 80. And it's not just like you unlock the best method at 23, I'm looking at you, lava runes, or 45 with granite, right? If it's not like that, I think it's a lot better. So in a way, we're trading off the faster sort of late game of failing for a slower early game. And I think that ramp up really creates this nice snowball effect where you're really building out this really good ship over time, and then it becomes faster and faster to do whatever you want to do to train the skill. Now, I might have no clue what I'm talking about. It's definitely possible that none of what I said is relevant, and the best way to train this skill is some other method, and building out the ship is not relevant, but seems like if you're able to build 5 boats at the same time, that maybe at least 3 or 4 of them will have some purpose. So I'm planning on building this out. Even for my POH, I spent a lot of money making it look really nice. So, man, I haven't used these capes like in like half a decade. Yeah, so that's the plan. We'll go do 99 sailing. What am I doing? I'm pretty sure my old menu entry swappers still work, right? Yeah, if I hold shift. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so go to 99 sailing, then bosses, then back to raids. That'll be the plan for the next half year, probably. If I can get mega rares, then I'll probably go for GM finally, but that's a long way out. I don't really care about combat achievements. I did everything with, 1 minute thralls. It doesn't matter to me. So we'll see how it goes. Anything else that I think is worth showing in here? I think I showed my gear tab. Everything is looking pretty good in here now. Food and potions. Vardorva's definitely, I think I used like, I think I had like 7,000 brews or more when I started, so I definitely decimated these a bit, but it's no issue. If I need more, I can get more. I have nests. It's fine. If I get to below 1,000 in any potion, I'll make more. Like I should go make super combats now, and I can do that very easily. I have plenty of supplies. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Anything else here? Nothing really changed. I ended up dropping over a few of these to one of my friends. I was keeping these old like Addy bolts from before Vorkath release, and I was even gonna drop these, but apparently for a ZCB, you might as well just use the Addy instead of the Dragon because it's the same 110. So it's just easier to use this and then save these for whatever DHCB boss gets released in the future. These are from Vardorvis, I think. These are from last video. Yeah, nothing else really changed. These are all from Vedian, if you remember from last time, so none of that really changed. Yep, cool. This junk tab, these have really been stacking up. I think, honestly speaking, like at some point I should just liquidate this and like give everything to my alt, my main, and just train that account up. And even for the dupes in here, like I think like between all of them, there's like over $1 billion in dupes, and at that point, like you should just use that and train up the alt, like do quests and stuff. So I should do that at some point. This update is nice, but it didn't change my motivation for clues at all. I still don't want to do them. So at some point, maybe I'll do these. Especially masters matter a lot less now if you're like cosmetic brained because, well, the torture ornament kit is useless now. Sag. Torm ornament kit, well, conflictions about whenever I get them, this will also be useless. I already have the occult. I have the Sarah, I have the Bandos, so it doesn't really matter. yeah, that's about it. I'm really proud of these. I think these do heavy lifting in terms of the bank value. You can clearly see if I take this out. It also, this one actually is not that consequential. What about this? Wow, that's more consequential than the spectral. That's funny. Anything else in here that's like big ticket? I know Ranker is actually worth a lot. Yeah, like surprisingly, and Alter also. Yeah, actually Alter is worth a lot. Dang. But yeah, like a lot of heavy lifting done here. 5 bill with no megas is pretty nice. I think if I had all 3 megas now, it would be what, like 8 bill? Maybe 9. I haven't done the math. You can do this from here now, right? Twisted bow. How much is that? 1.4? That's crazy. Scythe. Like about 1.3, 1.4, so it's 2.7. And then... Oh wow, that's cheap. Why is that crashing? I guess because of the Eye of Ayak. Let's say 2.7 plus like 0.8, like 3.5 bill, right? So yeah, 8.5, between 8 and 9, like I imagined. So that's pretty good. I would say it's like not a bad value at all for somebody who's, you know, been around in PVM but not done everything. Not bad at all. Cool. Yeah, so that's the plan. Got to remax first, and then we'll take it from there. Let's see. Anything else? Or I think, should we wrap up? I guess like Imbued Heart Grind. That's like giga long term. Keen viewers might notice I did just get this while grinding for the rings, the Magus, and the Altar, but it was, you know, it's nice. I wasn't looking for it too carefully because I have these, and honestly speaking, this is all, like ultra rare. If I get the bottoms, you know, it'd be nice for sure. Definitely going to use these for Barrage, but Barrage matters a lot less now because you use Venator Bow and Iraq sights, and if you want to save even more money by defraying the amount of smokes you do, you can also use it on Abyssal Demons. Speaking of Venator Bow, I don't think I even had that in the last video, so that was another insane spoon. Phantom Muspa. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Only have 3 icons. Should go get the 4th. I don't like this boss. I think it's not fun without mega rares. Yeah. What is that pet? Oh, is that from the Bone Agility course or whatever? That's cool. Looks really nice. Alright, I think that'll do it. Cool. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll try to get 99 sailing by the end of the year, but highly unlikely, I think. So we're looking at January, I think. And hopefully next time it's not like 8 months or 2 years between videos. Alright. Thanks. See you in the next one.